Lee Marvin was born on February 19, 1924, in New York City, to a family that had a mixture of privilege and turmoil. His father, Lamont Waltman Marvin, was an advertising executive and a World War I veteran, while his mother, Courtney Washington Davidge, hailed from a well-established family in Virginia. Despite this solid foundation, Marvin's childhood was far from typical. He was a rebellious and restless young man, expelled from several schools before ultimately finding his path in life. When World War II broke out, Marvin enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps, where he would serve in the Pacific Theater. During the Battle of Saipan, he was wounded by machine gun fire, an injury that would not only leave him with physical scars, but also deeply affect his worldview. The trauma he experienced in war would later give his on-screen characters a sense of authenticity and depth that few could match. A soldier's resilience. Marvin's early years and acting beginnings. After the war, Lee Marvin found himself drifting aimlessly for a period of time. He worked as a plumber's assistant in upstate New York before discovering his passion for acting. In the early 1950s, Marvin transitioned to the theater and quickly made a name for himself. His commanding voice and intense presence made him a standout performer. He soon moved to television and film, landing supporting roles that showcased his ability to embody tough characters like soldiers, lawmen, and villains. His breakout performances came in the late 1950s with films such as The Wild One, 1953, Bad Day at Black Rock, 1955, and The Big Heat, 1953. Marvin's portrayal of menacing figures left a lasting impression on audiences and cemented his reputation as a versatile actor with a rare authenticity. Hollywood's tough guy, Marvin's rise to prominence. Marvin's career reached new heights in the 1960s as he starred in iconic films like The Dirty Dozen, 1967, Point Blank, 1967, and Paint Your Wagon, 1969. His roles, often portraying gritty anti-heroes, captured the essence of raw masculinity, and his performances became benchmarks for tough guy roles in Hollywood. Marvin's portrayal of Major John Reisman in The Dirty Dozen, a battle-hardened officer who leads a group of misfit soldiers on a suicide mission, was both fierce and layered, marking a key moment in his career. His ability to balance toughness with vulnerability earned him widespread acclaim. One of Marvin's standout moments came in 1965 with Cat Ballou, where he portrayed a drunken gunslinger and his evil twin brother. His surprising ability to combine humor and menace won him an Academy Award for Best Actor, solidifying his status as a Hollywood legend. Marvin's authenticity, the tough guy who understood life's struggles. While Marvin's characters on screen were often tough and uncompromising, his real-life persona was equally complex. Known for his blunt honesty and rough-edged demeanor, he was unapologetically outspoken and lived life on his own terms. Marvin's deep intelligence, dry wit, and loyalty to his friends won him the respect of his peers. He wasn't interested in playing the part of the polished Hollywood star. Instead, he valued authenticity over appearances and often expressed his disdain for the artificiality of fame. His hard-drinking lifestyle and forthright attitude often put him at odds with Hollywood's glamorous image. But those who knew him personally recognized that he was a man of substance. Despite his gruff exterior, Marvin's inner complexity was revealed in his performances, and he was admired for his ability to bring depth and authenticity to his roles. A complex personal life, Marvin's marriages and family. Lee Marvin's personal life was as complicated as the characters he portrayed on screen. In 1952, he married Betty Ebling, a woman who supported him during his early struggles in Hollywood. At the time, Marvin was just beginning to find his footing in the entertainment industry, taking on minor roles in television and film. Betty stood by him through those difficult years, helping him balance his career ambitions with family life. Together, they had 4 children, 1 son, and 3 daughters. However, Marvin's growing fame, combined with his long absences for film shoots, his intense work schedule, and his love of nightlife, put a strain on their relationship. After 15 years of marriage, the couple divorced in 1967. Despite their separation, Betty remained an important part of Marvin's life, and they continued to co-parent their children. Their relationship reflected Marvin's tumultuous career and the toll fame took on his personal life. Second chances, Marvin's marriage to Pamela. Feely Lee. Marvin's second marriage to Pamela Feely in 1970 came after his rise to stardom. Pamela, a woman who had known Marvin for several years, provided him with a sense of stability that had been missing in his first marriage. Unlike his previous marriage, which had been formed during his climb to fame, this union took place after Marvin had already achieved success as one of Hollywood's most respected tough guy actors. Pamela was described as elegant, intelligent, and strong-willed. She provided a calming influence on Marvin's often chaotic lifestyle. Though their marriage had its challenges, particularly due to Marvin's struggles with alcohol, Pamela remained loyal and steadfast. Together, they built a life in Tucson, Arizona, and later in Mount Kisco, New York. The legal drama, Marvin's battle with Michelle Triola. Marvin's life was marked by not only personal triumphs, but also public controversies. One of the most notable dramas of his later years involved his legal battle with Michelle Triola, who famously sued him for palimony in the late 1970s. The case brought attention to the legal rights of unmarried couples and became one of Hollywood's most talked about legal dramas of the decade. Throughout the ordeal, Pamela Feely stood by Marvin's side, weathering the intense media scrutiny with grace and quiet strength. The case ultimately had a significant impact on how the legal system views the rights of unmarried individuals in cohabiting relationships. While the case was a source of turmoil, Pamela's loyalty to Marvin remained unwavering, and she helped him maintain a sense of normalcy in a world filled with chaos and drama. Marvin's final years, health struggles, and legacy. As Marvin entered his later years, his health began to decline due to the toll of smoking, drinking, and years of hard living. In December 1986, his condition worsened, and he was hospitalized for complications related to coccidioidomycosis, a fungal infection also known as valley fever. Marvin had spent much of his life in arid regions of the American Southwest, where the fungus is prevalent, and his weakened immune system struggled to combat the infection. The disease worsened his respiratory health, and Marvin was administered steroids to reduce inflammation and ease his breathing. Unfortunately, the steroids caused severe side effects, including major intestinal ruptures, which required emergency surgery. Despite the procedure, Marvin's health continued to deteriorate, and he faced a slow and painful recovery. Marvin's final days, a quiet farewell. Throughout his illness, Lee Marvin maintained the same stoic toughness that had defined his entire life. He rarely complained and faced his declining health with the same grit he brought to his roles in film. Friends and family members noted that Marvin's physical strength, once a defining feature of his persona, had begun to fade. In his final months, his tall frame appeared thinner, and his once powerful voice became raspy. Despite his physical decline, he kept his dry sense of humor and continued to maintain his fierce independence. Those who knew him spoke of a man who had survived war, the pressures of fame, and a tumultuous personal life. But in the end, his body could no longer keep up with his indomitable spirit. On August 29, 1987, Lee Marvin passed away at the age of 63 due to a heart attack. Respecting his fellow icons, Lee Marvin on Cary Grant. One of the most fascinating aspects of Lee Marvin's character was his unfiltered honesty, especially when discussing his contemporaries in Hollywood. In a rare moment of candid reflection, Marvin spoke about Cary Grant, one of the most iconic figures in the history of cinema. Marvin's take on Grant was both respectful and insightful, offering a glimpse into the complexities of their personalities. He acknowledged Grant's immense talent and ability to craft the perfect image of a debonair leading man. However, Marvin also pointed out that Grant's image was carefully constructed, a product of his discipline and professionalism. Unlike Marvin, who prided himself on being raw and unrefined, Grant's polished persona seemed almost alien to Marvin,